Welcome to the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast. Our theme for 2025 is the future of work. Meaning is the new money. In a world shaped by rapid innovation and constant change, the pursuit of purpose and impact has never been more important. I'm Dr. John Dentico, your host, bringing over 30 years of experience in leadership, strategic thinking, and purpose-driven innovation. Here, we tackle the pressing challenges of our time, from the rise of artificial intelligence to the growing need for meaning in the workplace. Together, we'll uncover how leaders can ethically integrate AI to enhance decision-making and keep humanity at the heart of their organizations. Remember, amidst all the technological advancements, in the end, it's always about the people. This podcast is your resource for actionable tools, thought-provoking discussions, and inspiring stories. It's time to go beyond leadership development and focus on leadership impact, creating workplaces where people thrive, innovation flourishes, and meaning truly becomes the new currency. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now, let's throttle up and dive into today's episode. Hello again and welcome to the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast. It's me again, Dr. John Dentico. With me today is Amit Khanna. Amit Khanna is a senior project manager, Agile leadership expert, and international author with over 21 years of experience in the IT sector, leading enterprise-level projects across industries and continents. A certified Agile coach, Scrum trainer, and project management professional, PMP, Amit blends traditional project management rigor with Agile delivery strategies to lead complex mission-critical initiatives with precision and flexibility. Throughout his career, Amit has successfully delivered 10-plus programs ranging from $600,000 to $4 million in Australian dollars, managed onshore and offshore teams of up to 40 people, and worked with global brands like Volvo Cars and Teradata on strategic transformations, SDLC redesign, and data warehouse innovation. His expertise spans Agile coaching, stakeholder engagement, risk control, cloud migrations, and BI/DW implementation, making him a sought-after leader in enterprise delivery. But Amit's journey is much more. Orphaned at a young age and having survived 4 episodes of facial paralysis, Amit worked odd jobs from age 15, from factory floors to bartending, all while overcoming language barriers and financial hardship. One can only imagine. His life story is one of grit, growth, and unshakable resilience. Amit is the author of the acclaimed book, Corporate Circus, a TEDx speaker, and the creator of the Confident Corporate Communication Framework, which helps mid-career professionals master self-leadership, navigate office politics, and communicate with clarity and confidence. Throughout his podcast, Stories That Impact, 68 episodes so far, I'm happy to say, and Communicate with Impact, 12 episodes, Amit shares powerful lessons on leadership, communication, career development, and never giving up. Whether he's coaching professionals or delivering keynotes, Amit Khanna is a dynamic and deeply relatable voice for anyone ready to thrive in the corporate world without losing themselves in the process. I'm truly pleased and honored to have him here with me today. Good morning, Amit. How are you?
Hey, John, thank you for that intro. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. So, Amit, at the risk of bringing up some distasteful memories, I wanted to ask you, as sort of my personal touch this year on my podcast, can you tell me about where you grew up, some things that were the major influences in your early life?
Sure. So I am born and brought up in Mumbai, that's Bombay, if people know, in India. I grew up to my lovely parents, and I'm a single child, a little late born as well for their age. I was loved like crazy, pampered, overly pampered till the age of 15, and that's where my father passed away. when he passed away, we realized that not only we lost the person, we lost the banks, we lost our home, we lost the livelihood as well. Because I was so pampered, I had no idea about anything in the world of finance or how the house runs, basically. That's where my life kicked in. I think there's a lot of people who came into my life from there. My mother, after a few years, got breast cancer, and 9 years from there, she passed away as well. The biggest thing that I realized at the age of 15, 16 onwards was that life is really interesting. I was shielded from all sides. When I say interesting, there's a very different world out. People really do not care about what you think and what you want to do. Everyone has their own ways of working. So I started to learn that. And during this journey, one of my biggest influencer, because she is the one who always guided me across. But I would say that I was influenced from amazing waiters to bartenders, and everyone taught me something or the other. Some taught me the things I shouldn't do in a very different manner because I went onto a wrong path, and then you realize that, oh, that's not a good way. And some really gave me a good piece of advice. So, a lot of influences in my life, I must say.
It's so interesting. I've been thinking lately about what I would call the two families: the family that you're born into, and then the family that you choose. Friends that become like family. I have a friend of mine who's like that with me. We've known each other almost 50 years. It's amazing how they can influence your life. The first job I ever had when I was about 16 years of age, I was delivering groceries. I worked for this man. His name was Benny. Benny taught me one of the most fundamental rules of life, and that was no one says you can't do your job and have a good time while you're doing it. To me, that was such a critical piece of information that, hey, go into the world, have a good time, and do your job. I really associate very much with your words.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. You're a certified agile coach and project management professional, known for blending traditional project management with agile methodologies. What's the secret to finding the right balance between structure and flexibility in complex corporate environments?
So, I think what I've realized is I worked in 7 countries, and I'm very blessed because of my ex company, Teradata. What I've learned is that every organization has their ways of working. When I used to enter any organization, I used to try and understand their ways of working. Because if I understand their ways of working, that's the structure and how they function. And when you understand that, for me, the most important thing had always been understanding the stakeholders and their roles. Project management defines stakeholders as someone who can negatively or positively influence the outcome of project. I live by that rule now because I realize that if I do not understand the nature of the stakeholder very well, then I might not get what I want to do for my growth and for the company's growth. Correct. So that's where the structure and all the other things came into picture. Once I understand how things work around here, then I now understand who is the person who can positively impact my outcome and who are the ones whom I need to take care of. Let's be very honest. Once I understand that, then I'm sorry I have to use this word, but I have to maneuver my way. I have to work around things so that I can get things done. Right. So, and of course, the project management and agile frameworks. I mean, whatever people say, I still believe it's the way things happen. Everything has a certain start and an end. You'll always have some risk. You'll always have some issues. You'll always have some work dependencies, this and that and stuff. It's more of the understanding of ways of companies working, what's their vision, where they want to land up, and how you can fit into that rather than going the other way around.
I agree. For me, there's a two-way street. I've said this many times on my podcast. I think it's so important for a company to be clear about its values. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is where we're going. And not to overinflate it with paragraph after paragraph in a mission statement. I'm sure you've seen this. One sentence for me. That's all I need. How do we all fit in? So on that side of the fence, it's really important for the company to be clear about their values. And it's really important for people seeking jobs, looking to join organizations, to be clear about their own values as well.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that can happen is a mismatch of values. That person's not going to be around long.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to, I can't work here. I don't even understand who these people are. But there are others who would love the opportunity to be involved with an organization like that. I used to talk about only one side of the fence, trying to find people that join the organization because the organization was aligned, but the organization has to be aligned first. So there has to be this way in which they can meet in the middle. So I'm really, and the other thing is, you are an incredible representative of this. And that is the thing that I've learned is hire people for heart as well. And what I mean by that is you've seen this. A team is down by so many points in a game. Take cricket, for example. I'm sure you're a cricket fan. And then the other team comes back and wins in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
And we all look at that and say, you know what? That team has heart. That team persevered. They never said to themselves, we can't do this. They say to themselves, we can do it. So I talk now about hiring for heart. What I'm saying is those people know how to get through difficult times. They know how to have perseverance and solve problems. Somehow they've solved their problems. And I think that's a great thing to say to a company. Look for people who've had difficult upbringings, who've had challenges in their early life. These are kind of the folks that I would say, you know what? They're the people we want to grab onto. I'd love to get your reflection on that.
No, I did my Gallup strength assessment to know my strengths. And the number one strength that I have is problem solver. When I realized that, I'm like, all right, yeah, that's a fact. I've been solving problems since after my father's death, problem of having food, this, that. And now it is, and now when I look back at my own work, so I've been a person who always likes to get on a project, work on it, and then get onto another one. So if I am ideal for like 2-3 months at stretch, then I become restless and my company knew about it. So I am always blessed to get a lot of work and I'm very happy for that as well because I do get my time break, but at least I know I have work. But you're absolutely right. I think when you have that problem solving attitude, you start looking at things in a different manner rather than seeing it as a problem. You get excited with it. There's a problem for me to solve. Not everyone would have that approach, to be honest. It's not required either. But if someone has that, at least they are sure that they will be on job as long as they want, I would say, because there's a lot of problem to solve for sure. And, there's a lot of things you can learn and do better.
I agree. I think good leaders want people who say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to find out what the answer is.
Yep.
I will figure it out, or we will figure it out.
Yep.
That attitude ignites this notion of rapid prototyping. We want to create a product. We want to create a service. We're not sure where it's going to wind up, but let's start. And not be afraid of mistakes or failures. That's what rapid prototyping is all about. It's about making mistakes and having those failures to say, okay, we learned this doesn't work. Let's move on to the next piece. So I'm with you 100%. You developed the Confident Corporate Communication Framework. What are the core elements of this model, and how does it help mid-career professionals grow into confident leaders?
Sure. I'll why I did this first, because that's very important from my aspect. While doing my graduation, I passed out just a month before the 9/11 plane crashed, 2001. Unfortunate time for me. So I did my post in computers. While learning, I came across Java as programming language. And I realized I can't be a good coder. It just didn't get into my head, I'll be very honest. I realized that I'm not going to be a good coder, but I used to speak openly, frankly to many people. That's how I was fluent and talking, and I can get around and I talk to people. And that developed into people skills for me. By 2006, my company realized that he's good with people, so let's give him a team to manage. I've been managing teams for a long time. But during this journey, I saw a lot of technical people who are really good, but they just can't voice out. They can't showcase their own work. And if they do to the senior management, it is so boring that how might I say, hey, Amit, can you summarize this for me? And their shine, their thunder is gone now. While some leaders give credit, some actually steal as well. Right. I realized there's a gap. And even after traveling 7 countries, I realized it everywhere. It's not just in India. So I thought, all right, I need to work with the folks to just uplift them. And that is where the confident corporate communication was set up in 2020. The purpose was, if you have your core skills in place, so think about it as a Venn diagram, right? So 3 circles. So if you have your core skills in place, I'll help you with your communication. We'll build the confidence. And the center is where you have your core skills, communication, and confidence. That's the 3 C's, CCC. That's the whole purpose. The point here was very simple. A, we need to understand the importance of your body language. You need to understand how voice matters as well. You need to really come out of that boring tonality, the choice of words that you speak. And when I started to work more with people, I realized that they really do not sometimes understand how to talk to the stakeholders properly. They get bashed up for something, poor ratings for something, and then office politics get into the lot of things. But that was the fundamental of why I started it. What exactly is the framework?
Great. You know what it brings to mind? I hate to say it, but it brings to mind the old adage of death by PowerPoint. I was recently at a presentation. I went to several of them. And what I saw was PowerPoint slides filled with words that you could hardly read. It's a mindset example. They're giving a technical presentation and they want all the words to be on the screen. I always say there's 2 ways you do a PowerPoint presentation. Number 1 is you follow the PowerPoint slides. A lot of times that's what's happened. You're reading the PowerPoint slides, not the way to do it.
Yeah.
The other one is the PowerPoint slides follow you. Because I like to say, I'm the act. You hired me to come here. All they're doing is pictures and maybe 1 or 2 words just to hit the key points. You're trying to deliver the message. Many times, I'd love to get your reflection on this, Amit, is the technical people, God bless them, don't understand how to take something very complex and shrink it down to its simplest points that people can grab onto. What do you think about that?
You're absolutely right. But here is one thing I also realized now after talking to so many people and working with them. Technical people, if they make things simple, from their mind, they degrade themselves. They feel that if I make it so simple, I am devaluing my technical knowledge.
Wow.
Because
I had never thought of that.
Exactly, right? So think about it, because I've been working and I still have a lot of time. But I realize when I tell them that this can be really simple, I ask why. I'm a whiteboard kind of a. When I make it simple, they always come back and say, it's not that simple. I said, but you just showed me. Because I did my diploma in human psychology, I also realized that the reason they don't want to do is because they feel within that I am losing my technical edge if I make it.
So interesting. I have never focused on that before, but it makes perfect sense. That if I make it simple, people will think I'm not doing worthful work. I'm making it too easy for people to understand it, and they'll think it's a lot less than what it is. A very interesting observation. That's a profound observation. I appreciate that very much.
Fine.
Let's talk about this. I'm very curious about this piece here. Office politics can often derail great talent. We've all seen that. What advice do you give professionals who struggle to navigate those unspoken power dynamics while staying true to their values?
Yeah. So power dynamics is an interesting game. I tell most people who meet me or work with me is that understand everyone, like you said, remember there's a values that you brought. Correct. So we need to understand that there's a set of values that a person was brought up with. If you find you're in an office political situation, just give a benefit of doubt to other person. I give 3 strikes to everyone. These are like my benefit of doubt. The one of the things is that I realize that okay, you're coming from a different background, a different, caste, religion, whatever, culture, whatever you want to say, language, different country, different place. So that's one excuse. The second is that everyone has an ego that they want to fulfill as well. So we sometimes, and this is where the choice of words matter a lot, because sometimes if you do not use the right words, you might accidentally hit someone's ego. And that will carry more hatred towards you than any of the work you've done. So we need to understand, and this is where understanding the roles and responsibility of a person, especially in a work environment. So understanding the RACI matrix, understanding the stakeholder management, understanding what cues and what triggers somebody, all these matters. And when you understand this, you basically have created an amazing profile of someone where you can go and work with them in the ways you want to work with them rather than they. Because now you know what triggers them. Now you understand that this might hurt someone's ego and things like that. So this is where the power dynamics then starts basically. Because any person who's above you would always want to showcase some sort of power dynamic on you, right? At some given point of time, even though they are the most humblest person on the planet. And it can happen unknowingly as well, right? So the key is to understand that give benefit of doubt always, always. In fact, 3, not just 1. Understand that we all come from a very different background, upbringing for that matter. Number 3 is that they have certain level of ego and you got to respect it because you have one as well. Everyone has it. And then number 4, that how have you come to a conclusion? Like that's why 3 chances, right? By the time you have the 3 chance, now you know that it's a repeatable offense. Now I can go and say something. Now I can escalate or whatever. But unless it could be one off, it could be that they had a flat tire. Could be they have a bad day. It takes time. But if you do it diligently, if you have that mindset and of course a bit of patience, you'll eventually understand that office politics can be healthy if you deal it nicely. It's just the word politics is always taken in a negative tonality. That's all.
People don't understand that the simplest definition of politics is the competition for scarce resources. That may be time, money, a job title, a job position. They're scarce resources. And what you're involved in is the competition for scarce resources. It's very interesting. I think that plays into the next thought I want to talk about and get your reflection. Here we are in the aftermath of COVID. I'm sure you're seeing this on the psychological side as well. People are no longer just looking for a job or a paycheck. They want something more out of their involvement with an organization. Number 2, we have loss of trust in institutions. I think I have a colleague who says we're living through a trust deficit. And the third one, and certainly the one in everyone's mind, is this rapid hyper development of artificial intelligence that's putting the power of knowledge in everyone's hands.
Yeah.
If you got a ChatGPT account and you pay your $20 a month, which I do, or you're on some of the free ones, you really can do some amazing things. Does it take the place of a human? No. Does it help you create pathways, bust through obstacles in your thinking? Yeah, it does a great job of doing that. The old models of leadership and structure, parts of the structure, not all of it, are being shredded. And they're being shredded because of this incredible movement, the COVID aftermath, loss of trust, and distribution of knowledge power in the hands of pretty much everyone. Leadership isn't about position. It's about an influence relationship, and anyone can have influence.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let me answer this question. How do you see, from your perspective, so all the great things that you've done, how do you see the leadership evolving or transforming the future?
Yeah. I think I feel that, so you're right, leadership is now, it's no more hierarchical in that sense. The influence and power can be with anyone. The YouTube influencers, the ones who are making many changes, are in their 30s or younger. So that shows that with the right amount of skill, people can get into leadership positions. And as you said, it's good one way. What I see and what I actually want would be, see, leader is a very tricky place to be, because like Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. And handling responsibility is a larger issue here than anything else. I want any leader to understand first that you're responsible for a lot of things. You're responsible for somebody feeding their child at home. You're responsible for government, the economy, and this and that in some way or the other form. Doesn't matter you're in $1 billion company or millions or whatever, but you're a leader now. And this is where I want leaders, even though I'm not just talking the heads and the CEOs, I'm talking these small team leads as well. Even they should start treating themselves as leaders, because I have seen people not doing that. So leaders, A, they need to realize that there is a responsibility. B, there is an upbringing of others. So how do you do that? Like, how do you really empower other people so that they can now take up better roles? Correct. I don't know who said this dialogue, but this statement that, I employ others so that they can give me the information what I need to do with the company. I don't want my vice president and head to come. I should tell them. They should tell me. That's why I'm hiring. So we need leaders like that in place, right? We need leaders who are not just worried about their job all the time. If you empower, it's like I lift you and then I am being lifted up. So you got to kill the dependency factor. That's number one. You got to understand and build assets for the organization. Doesn't matter which level you are in. A leader is the first to get slapped and the last to get appreciated. A leader is humble enough to acknowledge the human side of things that are happening, but strict enough to get things done. Right. So these are this basic definition. But I want leaders of future to be responsible towards their own role. The other thing with the top leader is what I feel is, Simon Sinek has a book called Infinite Games. And there he talks about the concept of how every leader always thinks about their own legacy. The first thing any leader does is reshuffling the entire organization. Right. And then when they go, the new person comes, they do the same. And the reason they do is because they want their ways of working. But what happens is there is no infinite game that a person is thinking for the company. And that is where a lot of companies go up, down, up, down, up, down. There is no focus. It's just happening. Oh, AI came in, so I'll adapt to that. Oh, this came in, I'll adapt to that. If a leader can see that, okay, I'm here, I want to see the company grow. It doesn't matter whether I'm there or not. I do a benefit for that. That's an infinite game. And I don't think I have seen a lot of people doing that. I know there are companies like that, probably Berkshire, but again, that's one person doing the longer durations. Yeah, I need leaders to be better visionary. I want them to be responsible. They should think about the people and lift them as well.
Yeah, I agree completely. My model of leadership that I started developing over 30 years ago has one basic premise, and the premise is contribution. My model is based on contribution. We have a problem. We have a challenge in the organization. Anybody got anything? Anybody want to step up and add something here? Recognizing that there has to be form, fit, and function as we move down the road. We're going to get it together and move it down the road. The other thing is my perspective on leadership is really that the job of leadership, if you said, what is the real job of leadership? I've had so many guests talk about inspiration. I've had so many guests to talk about empowerment. I get that. But really, the job of leadership for me is transforming change. It's about making big change. Management, incremental change. You need both. Management's about efficiency, leadership's about effectiveness. They go hand in hand. From my perspective, leadership is a process, and I want to put that tool in anyone's hand who wants to stand up and say, I'm going to make a difference. Yeah. And takes that and moves it along. So I agree with you. You lift everybody up. There's the old saying in the Navy, rising tide lifts all boats. You want it to be a rising tide so that everybody gets lifted up and moves everything forward. I truly appreciate those comments. We're getting close to the end here, so I'm going to ask you my semi-world famous question that I've asked for people all over the world, and I mean all over the world. And that is, if you had a magic wand and you could wave it at any issue you see in the work world, in the world you live in, what would that issue be and why did you choose that?
If I have the magic wand, what is it that I can
or promote?
put? I think I will actually promote this. I would promote how do we empower people? Because for me, the most important thing is when I realize this fact that if I want to grow, I really need to break the ties of the current work. So here's what I used to do back in 2018, and I still remember in Volvo Cars. So when I got it as a project manager, I said, your goal towards the end of the project or mid-project is to kick Amit Khanna out of the project. And they're like, what is he saying? That's the whole point. If you get onto a place where you can self-sustain yourself, I'm good to go. That mindset is what I would love to promote, because if you have that, that means that you're not only empowering them, you're getting them to a place, and now you can go and grab something more better, more interesting. There's always work in the organization, always something to.
You said this earlier and it reminded me, I kind of got a little sidetracked. Not your fault, my fault. And that is this word empowerment. I want to talk about that for a minute. Empowerment has become a mega word. You cannot look at anything on the internet and everything's empowerment. The problem I have is that we don't look at the other side of it. Let me talk about that for just a minute. If you look up in the dictionary, there's two words that are synonyms with empowerment. One is delegation. The other one I use is permission and delegation, permission to do something. And we've been talking about delegation for 50 years. Delegate. So if we use the term delegation just as a method to determine transference, so what we say most of the time is that leaders need to empower the people that work for them. Okay. But there's the other side of this. And you said it earlier. Take a person who has maybe a college degree, maybe 2 college degrees, maybe just 15, 20 years experience in a particular discipline. Don't they delegate or don't they empower the organization with the knowledge, background, and the experience they bring? And we have a term for that. And the term for that is subsidiarity. There is the subsidiarity of them taking their knowledge and power of information, of experience, of background, and saying, I'm delegating that to the organization. I'm delegating that to you, the leader, to use. We only see empowerment one way and don't understand the reciprocity of it in terms of subsidiarity, the movement of what I have to the organization. You created an environment where people come to do their best work every day. I'm here to do my best work. Here's my power. Here's what I'm bringing to the table. I'd love to get your reflection on that.
Yeah. No, I think this is really interesting because I realize that a person brings in a lot of thoughts, and when a person leaves, it's not the person, all the assets that goes with them as well. The thought, the business, and a lot of things, right? We just don't lose a human being in that sense. But I never thought that they're empowering the organization, which is really correct, because when they produce any assets, and I'm a person who loves to create assets in the organization, you're absolutely right. I'm empowering the company now. I never thought of it. Thank you for enlightening me, because I am now empowering the organization. Now you have a lot of power because I've given you stuff for it to work. I think from my end, and I completely agree on the other fact as well, the empowerment is another buzzword now. What I really think empowerment would be, delegation and all that is fine. For me, it's more of trusting your team. It's trusting the fact that, yes, you're going to make a mess. Yes, I understand it. My job is to shield you for all the mess that you'll do, as long as it's in a confined way, right? If you go and mess up in production or some different environment, that's an issue. But as long as we're in the test environment, we are in those framework environments and stuff, that's fine. And that level of trust will then empower them to do more, better, and things like that. It's not just delegating my tasks, but to let them trust. But yeah, I like the thought of re-empowering the work. Yeah, we do that.
Let me give you a name that you can look up. His name is Charles Handy, Handy. He's considered to be the European equivalent of Peter Drucker, the Moses of management. And he's written extensively on empowerment versus subsidiarity. I think you'll find it very interesting. He is so spot on in terms of my thinking and the way I look at the transference of real knowledge and power, especially in this world of AI. If you ask this simple question, who's the smartest person in the room? Is it the chief executive officer, the COO? Or is it Amit or Bob or Jane who are working with AI systems 4 to 6 hours a day, taking ideas and looking at futuristic scenarios and the possibilities of what can happen if we introduce this product or service in the market at the present time? What are the pitfalls here? It just changes the whole dynamic, just so different. But anyway, Amit, listen, I can't thank you enough for staying up late in Australia. I appreciate it so very much. This has been a wonderful conversation. I appreciate your time. I wish you all the success in the future. Thank you so very much for being here with me today on the podcast.
Thank you very much. And just sharing it here. So I would love to give an e-copy of my book, Corporate Circus, to all of your guests. I'll drop a link to you, John, and you can add that.
I'll add it to the post-processing as well. Thank you so much, Amit. You have a wonderful day.